electrifying event you could possibly play at.
For some reason, every year it's that Anaheim event just seems to be the best one.
Most hyped up Call of Duty event every year.
The Anaheim crowd, it's literally electric. You walk in the venue and you feel that crowd.
It's just that one event per year that you don't want to miss.
Over top. Krim! It's Krim 6! Down to a 2v2. Now oh my God! Enigma 6 shocked the world with a continent on their backs! Complexity, something that no one thought could be done. OpTic Gaming just let it go. EG, Anaheim champion. OpTic Gaming are your 2016 Anaheim Open champions.
I think it's going to be the craziest Anaheim we've ever seen this year.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Call of Duty Global Pro League Anaheim Open, presented by the PlayStation 4. Call of Duty Esports has returned to its rightful home here in Anaheim, and it feels so good to be back. Of course, this is the event we have been hyping up for months, and there is a reason for that. Of course, my name is Benson. I'm going to be hosting the studio throughout the weekend. Joining me is 2014 Call of Duty World Champion TP, 2014 X Games gold medalist Proofy, and former veteran and European professional player, we have Momo.
Stop it.
I know. So
Stop
good.
it.
Such an accolade.
Just give me a free world championship.
Yeah.
Make me look good.
It'll be okay. But obviously, remember, this is your first ever Anaheim. Unlike these guys, obviously, TP, you won three championships here. You had success here as well, Proof. You won a major. I know what how's it feel to be here?
To be here in this venue, it's been a long time coming. I'm so hyped for this weekend. From yourself, Ben, mainly, you've been telling me you have to experience Anaheim. I came into this venue, and just the sheer amount of seats that I saw gave me goosebumps. I am so hyped for this weekend.
Oh, in terms of spectators, I mean, we're sold out. It's going to be a wonderful weekend of Call of Duty action. But, of course, if you are just tuning in, maybe you missed the announcements from the groups. We will go through that and recap now. Maybe you live under a rock and you didn't see it. I don't know why you wouldn't, but we'll start off with Group A. TP, I want to get your thoughts on this group. Is it kind of a simple one in your mind, or is it anyone's game?
I think overall you have to look towards Splice. They are the most current champion. They got that win at Stage 1 playoffs and look damn good. Can Zero get that MVP performance again? The rest of the group, though, no slouches.
Yeah, I mean, now with Enigma 6 having Royalty on the roster instead of Ruiz, I think they're going to be a lot better. You got a guy who made it to the finals, first event with ALG. Switching him in place of Ruiz, you have this lane power that's going to match General. And Proto, we saw what Proto did last time. Oh my God, Proto, if you're watching this, oh my God. I love watching him play. I think Cade's going to be the X Factor.
Definitely one to watch. For me, I am not ruling out Cloud9. And I didn't say that a lot.
How much is Pat paid? How much is X paying? You're on the payroll already? Yeah. We've only just started. Bold prediction.
Pat is not anything to do with this, but looking at their two new players, obviously bringing in, they were fantastic yesterday in their relegation. They look good. They're confident going into this. And for me, it's the relegation team that have kind of come through and just they look at their squad, their group, and they actually think they've got a pretty tough group. You know, they've got North American Titans in there. But we saw, Rise be a little bit sloppy now and again. E6 definitely beatable, but I do think Splice have the edge on this one. I think they should take first.
Of course, Splice Stage 1 champions. Looking forward to see if they can repeat their success here at Anaheim. But moving forward, we'll take a look now at Group B. This one, of course, has, I believe it's going to be FaZe, Evil Geniuses, Elevate, and Red Reserve. They came through relegation yesterday. LG were so impressive at Stage 1 of the team.
Oh, most definitely. That's the LG we've been looking to see since this roster has formed in Infinite Warfare. If he gets that same performance out of Saints that they got at playoffs, I think they can definitely make it to the final again. Envy, though, I don't want to knock them down too much. They have been very consistent this year, but they haven't really been that top team we're used to seeing. Can they bounce back? I'm not too sure about them.
Well, I'm excited to see John play again. Like we said, he raised his sensitivity. He was playing like a monster all last event. With Apathy playing a little rough, we're not going to see that again. I know that's not going to happen again for Brian, so I see Envy stepping it up and looking very good in their pool.
Two North American beasts in this one, and you know what? I've got to say, for me, this is the pool of death. I fear for any open bracket team going into that. I would predict, no matter who it is, they're probably not going to win a series. Red Reserve look fantastic coming out of relegation. They've, of course, changed their roster a little bit, and it seems to be working 3-0 sweeps all around for them. But Epsilon, no slouches. They're kind of going under the radar. But I have to agree, these two North American Titans, two European Giants as well. that open bracket team, if you go into it, good luck, have fun, and don't give up.
Best of luck to you, that's for sure. Moving forward, then we'll take a look at Pool C here. Of course, this one is going to be led by FaZe Clan. Evil Geniuses are in there as well. Team Elevate and Bittersweet. For FaZe Clan, though, it's a very different story, team. It's an injury-riddled team.
You aren't used to hearing that in competitive video games, but yeah, you got to put a couple of these players on the DL, supposedly.
Right.
Yuma just had that wrist surgery. He is going to play at this event, so we're going to see how he's going to be able to bounce back so quickly from that. And then most importantly, EG going through a roster change. Can Parasite be that change that they needed to get back to the top? We'll see.
And on top of that, Clay, you got the root canal done.
Yeah.
We're talking about the hype man here. How is he going to get hype if his jaw hurts? How's he going to communicate if his jaw hurts?
Right.
Clay, I'm praying for you, buddy. You know you're my best friend. Get it done.
He's going to have cotton wool in his mouth, maybe.
I think this pool is a little bit more clear-cut. I think FaZe still, no matter how many injuries they do have, they're definitely the ones to kind of be. I was speaking to MindFreak, actually. They were scrimming them, and they were saying they were using replays. We were still losing.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah, and that was in scrims kind of thing. So that just shows the sheer caliber of that squad. And I'd be expecting FaZe to take that one, but
one thing I want to note though is with these teams, some of the other teams like Red, for example, and Bittersweet coming in, or you have to note, these teams are the weakest probably you'll ever see them. So FaZe and EG, if you want to come into this one, they're going to be the weakest possible. Maybe they can steal a game or two, make things interesting.
And also proven, Pat played with an injury. He got it done.
AW
Say no
Columbus
excuses, you know?
AW Columbus Open.
Yeah, he sliced his hand and he did work still. So.
Still won a championship, so no excuses for FaZe Clan.
That's take all that back.
Exactly.
All right, let's go.
We'll take a look now, of course, at the final pool. It's going to be Pool D. OpTic Gaming, the Green Wall. They are in there with E-United, Australia's MindFreak, and Europe's Fnatic. I feel, honestly, like this is the most exciting pool.
You could definitely make the case for that for sure. Can OpTic Gaming bounce back? A bit of a weak Stage 1 playoffs, in my opinion. I don't know what's really going wrong for these guys, but they're always going to be the contender. The green wall's here. The crowd's going to be getting loud for them. They're going to have that advantage for sure. Talking about E-United, though, a huge change.
Yeah, they switched out gunless for Swarley, so E-United is literally gunless. They don't have anyone with the gun skill to just slap everyone up on everything, please, and go from there. So, I mean, without gunless, they're looking very weak on the slaying category.
And as well, MindFreak, they've had roster changes as well from Australia. That caused a bit of a stir because, of course, Excite was brought in. He was a bit of an X factor at times, and then swapped out. Yes, Dens is a fantastic player. You know, probably the best Australian player there is. But of course, you know, there was kind of a bit of a controversy of should he have gone? Was he the right player to go? Right. Speaking to the team, they said it was the right decision. We've been playing a lot better. They've been over here scrimming as well. And MindFreak and my dark horse. I'm always one to put a wild one out there.
Really? MindFreak?
I think United may struggle in this one. And I know you're going to give me some stares.
No, not at all.
But
you're allowed to make the bold prediction. That's why you're on the desk.
I'm the European guy at the end.
I'm really surprised you didn't say Fnatic. That's why, because team, we've been very vocal about Fnatic. We genuinely believe like that was one of those teams that could have played at Stage 1 and probably could have done work. Their search and destroying performances have been fantastic. I think they could maybe steal their way in.
And it is Day 1 OpTic.
Yeah, of course.
We've heard about Day 1 OpTic. It's a different team. If they're not here and they're not awake and ready to play, MindFreak could come out and take that series versus them.
Aches isn't here on the desk, so I have to be, filling for him on the end. Just make some stupid prediction. It'll probably come true. I'm in the lucky seat right now, so I'm hoping for it. But we all love a good upset as well, but you can't kind of doubt the green wall in this one.
Well, moving forward, we'll take a look at our prize pool for this event. It is a whopping $200,000 on the line. First place walking away with $80,000.
Cash money.
So much money to play for, and that money, of course, is going to continue throughout the year, all the way on the run-up to champs. So much money on the line. You really can make your savings account look very, very nice.
Cash money.
The end of COD champs. But moving forward again, we'll take a look at today's schedule. We kick things off with a fantastic matchup on the main stage. It's going to be OpTic Gaming versus MindFreak. Then, of course, we'll see our Stage 1 champion Splice take on Enigma 6 at 2:30 p.m. And then to close out the day, we have a very, very special game, our All-Star matchup at 10. Excited for that. Of course, prior to that at 7 p.m., we do have OpTic Gaming versus E-United, FaZe Clan versus Evil Geniuses as well. So really a stacked day. So much Call of Duty esports action to kick off day 1 here at the Anaheim Open. But I want to get that conversation flowing. OpTic Gaming versus MindFreak, the first game on the main stage. Proofy, you already kind of mentioned a little bit, OpTic Gaming Fridays. We haven't really seen that slow OpTic in a while, but I feel like, you know, for MindFreak, this is an important time. You have to capitalize on it.
Play said it best after they beat them at stage 1. He said, if we were going to face them, we would want them as early as possible because OpTic isn't playing their game when they first start off. And after they lost, they were in the scrim sessions, I think at 9 in the morning, just playing all day, ready for their next day of the series.
Of course, and for MindFreak, I feel like their search and destroy has been very impressive. Is that one that you see them potentially stealing here, T?
That's probably the only game I will give them in this series overall. I think OpTic's just way too consistent, too strong overall. Yes, the roster change with Dens is going to help a bit with that slaying category, but it's not like Excite was a bad slayer for them on MindFreak, right? So I think it's going to be way too tough to outslay OpTic consistently. I don't see it happening. OpTic Gaming's taking this 3-0-3-1 for sure.
Wow, you're going straight for the easy.
They're coming with the fire, man.
Fair enough. I respect. After a poor stage 1, you would expect OpTic Gaming to kind of come into that.
We talk about poor. They got 4th place, right? So it's not the worst.
For OpTic Gaming,
for them, but still really good overall.
Of course. Now, I have to go to Mr. Crazy prediction over there.
I can only be so crazy, okay? I can only be so crazy. Yes, I'm a big fan of the MindFreak boys, but you can't logic. You can't go that way. I have to agree, spot on with Teep. It's either ending 3-0 or 3-1. Aches would probably say a 3-0 to MindFreak with Dens dropping 70 kills. And you know what? Probably would come true knowing Aches. But I agree, 3-0, 3-1. If I was to pick one, I think it's a 3-0 sweep for OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, at best, I think they only have a chance to steal one map on first day OpTic. So I say 3-1 in favor of OpTic as well.
3-1. All right, well, obviously, they're your rough predictions. I do want to take a look at our map set now, though, and see if potentially that changes anything in your minds, of course. We're going to start off with a hardpoint breakout. We go to a retail search and destroy, a throwback uplink, a scorch hardpoint if it does go to a game 4, and a throwback search and destroy if it goes the distance to a game 5. In terms of the search and destroy team, obviously that was the one I kind of asked you about. It is going to be a retail. Does that maybe cement your prediction there?
MindFreak might be able to take one of this map number 1 or map number 2. Breakout, we've seen OpTic have those slow starts. I go back a couple events where I see Scumpy starting off, 2 and 10, things that are just uncharacteristic for him. If they have that slow start, that day 1 OpTic, like Proof has been talking about, MindFreak could get up to a lead, and Breakout's very tough to come back on. Retail, though, MindFreak Search and Destroy is very strong. I think it'll be okay.
Especially if they could take map number 1 going into map number 2, having that momentum, I can see them taking a search as well. But then I'll see the reverse sweep on
100%.
obviously. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you're sticking with your prediction?
Yes, sir.
These guys are smart, I'm gonna agree with these guys.
They've won here in Anaheim before, like we said. Teep's a 3-time Anaheim champ, Proof's an Anaheim champ as well.
Almost a rookie.
You're the rookie of the table. I basically played with them too. You could swap either of them out for stuff, I guess.
Absolutely. And of course, OpTic returning Anaheim champions. I just don't see it going any other way than OpTic. I actually look at the S&D. That's the first thing I look at on retail. And again, I know OpTic has sometimes been a bit sloppy on it, but I just think with what happened at the playoffs, that will have spurred them on. That will have given them the fire to kind of just go, we are not slipping up. We're not making mistakes. We're not coming in cold. And from that, I give it OpTic 3-0.
Fair enough. Something interesting to note, you're not even giving MindFreak a map.
Right?
No, I've taken that off of
Gone. Savage straight off the bat. But Teep, obviously, in the intro video to the entire day, we obviously saw you having great success. The younger TP, though, look very young. But what is it like playing in front of the Anaheim crowd? Because that is one thing that we preached about every single time we talked about this event. The crowd here is nuts. They're absolutely crazy. It's bonkers. It's just unbelievably great to be here. Is that going to have an effect on...
So, from my different wins here at Anaheim in specific, I've gotten on both sides of it. One year, 2014, the crowd was against me.
Right.
You just need to try and use that energy as best as possible.
I had the crowd.
When the stage is shaking, it gives you this crazy sort of anxious sort of feeling, but it gives you a lot more of that positive energy as well. However, 2013, they were cheering in my favor, and that's when every single play you make up there that goes your way, you just want to get up and you just kind of lift your hands up. And it's just like, you want to go crowd surfing almost. It's one of the best feelings in the world. It's really hard to replicate that feeling too. So OpTic really has the advantage in that regard, in my opinion.
They definitely do. I mean, you can see the Green Wall fans already starting to take their seats, and now a look at OpTic Gaming. They are ready to get this one underway. But I guess on the flip side, for MindFreak, how as a player do you make sure you're not affected by that noise? Because we know OpTic Gaming's fan base. I mean, it's the loudest in Call of Duty esports. As a player, how do you kind of block that out?
You have to zone in completely. Everything else has to become white noise. You have to act like it's not even there. You have to get really into the game. Talk, have conversations in the game. Don't just give call-outs. Actually talk to your teammates. Call them by their gamer tag. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them where you're going to push. Make sure you're having conversations and not just throwing call-outs at each other. That's how you zone in.
I'd be making those soundproof headphones very tight. I'd be making them all the time, like, yeah, I can't hear anything. The crowd will be against them. That's a given. However, they've got to maybe think of all those guys back in the APAC region who are cheering them on. They're representing them, not just themselves, the team, their org, but they're representing a whole region. And they have to think about those guys as well and just kind of push them through. So good luck, have fun again. This is going to be a tough one to start with. You got to feel for them. OpTic Gaming day one, game one, it is tough.
It definitely is. I'm excited, of course, to get that main stage matchup. But it's worth mentioning over on Bravo, we have Luminosity versus Epsilon. Over on the Charlie station, we have Envious versus Red Reserve. And on Delta, E United versus Fnatic. And that's the game I just want to quickly touch on before we go over to that main stage matchup. E United versus Fnatic. Is this stealable for Fnatic, do you think, Team?
I really think it is. And one thing I want to note on it with these teams in the group that qualified through relegation, they've kind of played a tournament already yesterday. They got a couple of games under your belt and prove. I know you can agree with me. Yeah. Every single game you get on LAN under your belt, especially leading into a tournament like this, is so huge. And it's a qualifier, right? The rest of the year was on the line in the tournament yesterday. They're able to qualify. That's momentum. They're coming against the E United that might be a little bit weak after this change. No Gunless. They have Swirly. It's the best time to take that upset.
And it's not like they were scrimming. They were actually in the tournament environment yesterday. They were going 120%. You know what I mean? When you get that kind of practice before you have to play a tournament, it's going to help you.
I'm just trying to think of the last time as well in competitive Call of Duty that we saw the best player, arguably, Gunless, from a roster, be taken away and be replaced by someone arguably, standing those boots, you're not going to meet up to. When was the last time we saw that, where the best player was just taken out? I can't recall it, and for me, I think that's such a big hit, both momentum for those guys. They had everything. They were considered a top 2 team, and now I think you look at Fnatic and go, yeah, of course they can steal this one. I think their S&D was flawless yesterday. I saw them 6-0 sweep a couple of teams. That's where I would look to kind of pick the holes in the United. I see that going to Game 5, and actually, I don't know. I've got to favor the Europeans in that one.
Yeah, you do. Ooh. There you go. That was what I was looking for. That was what I was looking for. That to me is a very interesting series. We're going to keep you updated throughout the entire weekend, though, on every single pool play matchup, so you don't miss any action here at the Anaheim Open. But as we said, up next on the main stage, it's OpTic Gaming versus MindFreak, and I believe the game is about to get underway, so we can send it down to our fabulous casters. It's Bucket and Courage.
Thank you so much, Benson. Anaheim, how you guys doing out there? Yes! Our people are here, Jack. It is time to party.
Oh, it most certainly is. That crowd already filling in. Folks, be ready for a weekend of records being shattered in competitive Call of Duty. The CWL continues to make waves, and there's no better place to make it happen than here in Anaheim, California. My second ever Anaheim, but Chris, you've been to quite a few more than me.
I can't even count how many times I've been in this venue, in this city, and every single time, the crowd is absolutely electric. We've had basically an hour-long line going all the way over to Hall C, waiting to get in here for this first match of the day. It is your #1 team in the world. Even though Splice won Stage 1, I'm still giving the crown to OpTic Gaming. Can they reclaim their throne this weekend? Their first challenger is going to be MindFreak, the toughest squad to ever come out of Australia.
Yeah, this team now with Dens being added to this lineup, no longer having Excite, might be able to help them win this game mode right here. MindFreak in Stage 1 did not win a single breakout hardpoint. Overall, hardpoint was their weakest game mode. Dens, we know the slang power he brings is what makes him a force in his competitive Call of Duty career. Will he be the difference they need to kick things off on Game 1 breakout hardpoint? Chris, you heard the casters' predictions, or the analysts' predictions, sorry. What are yours for this one? Do MindFreak stand a chance?
I hope so. If you look back at when Australia had success, it's when Buzzo, Dens were playing on the same squad. Shox has been the best player for MindFreak for a while now. In fact, if you look at the group stages, Formal, he was a 1.3, the #1 overall kill-to-death ratio in the league. Shox was #2. The bad news for MindFreak, though, is you had Crim6 and Scump right behind Formal and Shox, and then the next highest player for MindFreak, it's Fida at 27. They were missing some slang. You got Dens. In my opinion, he is the greatest player in Australian history.
Wow.
He is now joining up with Shox. This is the dynamic duo to keep your eyes on.
I love it, Chris. You're coming out with some spicy words so far to kick off this stream. Either way, though, they're going to need Dens to play at his best. OpTic Gaming did not drop breakout hardpoint in any of Stage 1, whether it was the group stages or at playoffs. Either way, as this goes on, folks in the venue, we've got so much action going on. Everybody at home, don't forget, we've got 2 streams live right now. I believe on the Bravo station, we've got Luminosity going up against Epsilon.
Massive match there.
Yes, an EU versus NA battle. How do LG stack up? Can they continue to play well from the Stage 1 playoffs? Either way, though, I'm seeing the players load into the lobby. It is time to start the CWL Anaheim Open. $200,000 on the line. OpTic Gaming versus MindFreak.
Let's make some noise as the countdown is wearing on. Here we go. There is a look at Formal. He is going to be the X factor for this squad. Will he be able to play at the same form we saw him in the group stages, or is he going to have another sluggish event like we saw at the playoffs? For me, he's the guy to keep your eye on. But we're starting off the game with the king. It's Scumpy on your screen first.
There's a reason why he'll be playing in our All-Star game later tonight at 10 p.m. Pacific time. Already the Let's Go OpTic chants have started. Scump trying to get control of Showers and that back-loading area to kick things off, but the first couple kills do go over to MindFreak.
MindFreak doing work early on. You know, they pick up the first 3 kills. They're going to be inside the central rooftop, so they're scoring early. OpTic's Formal, though, slowly wearing them down. Picks up his second kill, looking for a third challenger. He spots 2. And just look how patient he plays. He is never going to challenge out in the open where he can be shot by multiple players. He is working his way around the map, finds 3. There's the 4th on Dens, falls just short, so no score streaks yet, but Formal already showing what he's ready to do in this series.
Formal played that so well. His goal was to keep the MindFreak pressure away from that loading side, give his teammate the opportunity to go for the pinch, and then they can overwhelm that middle hard point. Because of that play, because of those 3 kills, OpTic are able to get the last 20 seconds of scrap time. They will have the lead going into the second hill, and Chris, look at your minimap. Formal and Crim6 now playing for those back spawns.
And this is going to be so tough for Shox. As we say, he's going to fall at the hands of Karma. The SMG in Karma's hand, so deadly, and he is going to go out hunting. OpTic, they have total control of the cell block, but 2 players now stacking up on the back end. It's going to be Shox and Dens waiting to work together, but they need some support, and support can't come anywhere close. Buzzo, Shox, Dens, all dead. The spawns across the map, and now Karma's going to go out hunting.
Buzzo with a little bit of a panic blunder right there. Went to go challenge Karma, jumped right off the map. Makes it a little bit easier for the side of OpTic Gaming, already the lead. Going in favor of the green wall. They're now up by 40, and Crim6 is lining people up. He's on a 3 streak with the most time in the objective for OpTic Gaming.
Formal back on your screen, already has the Scarab working on some Trinity rockets. If you're just joining us in Call of Duty, the more kills you're able to string together with a more objective play, you're going to be earning scores. And as those scores add up, you're going to unlock score streaks. They can be devastating, especially on a map like Breakout, where you can see the missiles raining down fire from the sky, clearing off your opponents, even if they have the better setup.
Absolutely, and right now that better setup does go to MindFreak. Streaks would be great right here for OpTic Gaming to have. Fight his job, just watch that high wall run push. Here come the green wall members. You can see through the Codcaster X-Ray. Nice job by Fighta's teammates, so to watch over him. MindFreak pulled off the first green wall push.
And Fighta doing some nice peek shots here, just little half jumps, the bunny hops, looking for the quick angles. And he knows there's going to be players coming. 3 grenades coming from the same direction. That's a sign they're all pushing at once. And Krim is going to open up with 2. Make it 3. Krim clearing the hill. He's got 6 kills in a row. Fully streaked out as you see those yellow boxes in the bottom right. He's got the Trinity rockets. He's got the bombardment and can always use that Scarab to scout. That's exactly what you're going to see happen. Here come the missiles, Jack.
The goal with these missiles, force MindFreak into awkward positions. Give Crim6's teammates time to move towards this new hill. That's exactly what happened. Scump and Formal come on the pinch, go ahead and get those entry kills, and now OpTic Gaming will continue to build this lead. They're about to be up by 60 seconds, Puckett, and we're not even done with the first set of hills.
Now the most, I guess, worrying fact here is you have Shock starting off 3 and 6 and Buzzo at 2 and 6. And if you watch stage 1, you saw that the team that outslays their opponent in respawn, well, they dominated. In hardpoint specifically, the teams that outslayed won all 24 games.
Insane.
This is going to be tough for MindFreak to turn around this game. It's actually relatively close here, about a 40-point differential, but you're going to need all 4 players to get something going here. You need more out of Buzzo. You need Shox to turn it up.
And this is a scary thing, right? We talked about Scump. The analyst mentioned it. Sometimes you'll have those slow starts to hardpoint games. This time, not the case. Now 9 and 5 on a 6 streak. 1 more kill, and he'll earn himself that Trinity rocket. Crim6 had the 6 streak earlier. OpTic up by a full minute after the first set of hills. MindFreak need to do a better job of keeping up with the slang of OpTic Gaming, as they have 3 players negative right now, but they also need to do a better job, Chris, of getting the kills for the spawns, winning the gunfights on rotation.
Fight a nice early pick. Shocks comes in to reinforce. That push is going to be shut down. Unfortunately, while players pushed into the showers, you saw OpTic's Formal retaking the center of the map. So with OpTic scoring once again when MindFreak was set up first, this is happening too easily. You have to hold your setups here if you're the Australian squad.
Formal plays this hill so darn well for OpTic Gaming. You can always rely on him to be watching down towards that showers area. You see Scump gets the assist right there. It's Formal cleaning up the kill. MindFreak never have the angle to kill the player in the hard point on the side of OpTic Gaming. They've now outscored their opponents on this hill by about 40, 50 seconds between the first and second rotation. Formal might be getting a little bit ahead of himself there with the FTL jump, but either way, OpTic slowly building on this lead.
Formal going for some flashy plays. Buzzo just holds his ground, picks up the kill. You see Dens laying prone. He is going to be the scout right now. His teammates have to watch the top, and you can see that on the mini-map. Unfortunately, Crim6 is pushing through on the flank. Meanwhile, Dens is able to defend himself once, but now all of OpTic is going to be flooding in. Dens is going to have his hands full, finds two. That's going to open up an opportunity, but Fight has got to get there fast.
Is this not a perfect example, though, of the critiques we saw of this MindFreak pickup, Puckett, where people were questioning, was Buzzo the right decision to keep on this team? Excite obviously played well for this squad, seemed to be making a name for himself. Buzzo, we know he struggles in slaying. Dens, 1.5 KD, doing what he can to match OpTic Gaming. But you cannot have a player going almost quadruple negative off the break of a map and expect to beat one of the best teams in the world.
I've been pretty outspoken about the move, keeping Buzzo, losing Excite, but talking to the players yesterday, I was having a real honest conversation with Buzzo. I said, I thought you underperformed back at Dallas. You turned it up better at the group stages, but you need to be more consistent in the play. And he said, honestly, for us, it doesn't matter what happens in the game as long as you're making the right decisions. And the whole team agreed that I make the better decisions when it comes to rotating and putting our team in positions to respawn and be able to reinforce better.
Wow.
Meanwhile, there was Excite causing some problems, and you just see that kill feed. It's all green once again.
Yeah.
Buzzo, he's still on the squad, but he's got to pull his own weight.
And look what this now does for OpTic Gaming. It gives Scump an opportunity to push out towards this back helipad side. They're even dropping the bombardment to ensure that there's no chance for a retake anytime soon for MindFreak. Again, back up to an 80-second lead. OpTic looking to soon double the score of MindFreak. What I love about this right now, Chris, just shows some of the improvements we've seen from this OpTic Gaming team from those Stage 1 playoffs to now. Are they outslaying their opponents? Yes. It is not by, the normal 20 kills we would see from this team, but the lead that they now have, you would think that way. When you're doubling the score of your opponent, you would think that your opponent couldn't get near the hard point. Well, right now, you've got Karma at double negative. Yes, the remaining 3 players are positive, but the overall slaying is about even.
Scump, 17 and 10, though, is the player to shut down at the moment. The King is doing damage here in the first hardpoint. Finds Fida. They are 27 points away from taking your first game here in the best of 5. Scump getting the job done. Get out of my hill, boys. It's a Scump party, and we are going to see the Trinity Rockets just 2 kills away now. 2 challengers. They got to group up here. You can't go in one by one. They try it, and Karma and Formal are there to punish Scump. He's just going to play with his score streaks for the last 15 seconds.
Why not? This game is done and dusted, folks. OpTic Gaming come out of the gates hot. They take map number 1, 250 to 133.
Later, gamer. Game number 1, it looked like a cakewalk here for OpTic Gaming. Early on, it was a little bit close. You saw about a 40-point spread after the first rotation, but in the second half, they were doing everything perfectly. Jack, you touched a little bit on the score streaks here. What did you see from OpTic Gaming in our first respawn?
I mean, you just saw an early streak from Crim6 that gave them the bombardment, the Trinity Rocket. Even when OpTic were not rotating early, again, I keep mentioning the kills on rotation. Early on, it was just straight up gunfight wins. Later on in the game, because you were in those streaks, it winds up being the bombardment that forces MindFreak into awkward positions. The Trinity Rocket that pushes them into cover that they don't want to be under.
Right.
OpTic have a natural pinch develop. The team, for me, that was most impressive for OpTic was that it wasn't just 4 guns flying at a hard point. They played it slower. They made sure when their pushes came in, they counted, they did it the right way. That was a much better looking team in hardpoint for me from Stage 1 playoffs.
And we talked about Buzzo's struggles. Karma didn't put up the best numbers, but as you mentioned, the other 3 were able to carry that weight. Scump had the best game for OpTic Gaming. On the other side of the stage, keep your eyes on Dens. really impressing me early on, showing what he can bring to this squad. He's back on the MF lineup. He's got to be a key player for them because coming into this next game, we got Search and Destroy. You know Shocks, he was the best player in all of Stage 1 when it came to Search. So if you get a good game out of Dens, all of a sudden, we could have a tied series.
Oh, most certainly. And one thing I do want to point out, you mentioned Karma, not the flashiest stats. How many gunfights did we see Scump get in at the end of that game where the player was already one shot or half health? Easy cleanups for Scump. All those assists, we don't see them on the scoreboard, but trust me, they make a big difference, especially in the hectic hardpoint games we're used to seeing in Infinite Warfare. Either way, that game is done. MindFreak now have to bounce back, and this is the game mode now where TP said is a must-win if MindFreak want any chance in this series. It's the one map he really says that they have a chance at winning. It will be Retaliation, Search and Destroy. And I think we're going to be seeing some sniper play come out of not only OpTic Gaming, but potentially the side of MindFreak as well.
You're expecting some sniping. Who are your players to watch with these sniper rifles, Jack?
Oh, gosh. I mean, really, anyone from OpTic, you'd feel confident with them bring it out, but it's normally going to be formal. There's no doubt there. On the side of MindFreak, I wonder, do you even try to use that? Do you just go for, aggressive play in through Hotel? Do you try to just overwhelm OpTic Gaming in straight up 4v4 gunfights before they can go for a first blood, which is normally where a player like Formal would excel? There's a look at that player on your screen. Wow, is his hat lit up, or is that just gold?
No, he's lighting up, my friend. I have no idea. Maybe it's bejeweled, some glitter on there. It looks good on you, Formal. We are going to see a game number 2. We talked about how this is a must-win for the Australians, but for me, I think this is still just going to be a sign of how strong is OpTic this weekend. We saw their ups and downs. Search and Destroy, this is a game mode that people said they need to work on early on in IW. Yeah. Where do you think they're at right now?
I mean, they've improved, absolutely. We know that, but the big thing for me is at times a lot of these competitive teams just do very obvious plays. We saw it yesterday in relegation. I'm wondering how teams begin to kind of develop the next step. Everyone knows these certain strategies. You get streak, you go for a quick plant outside where you can kind of hover those streaks over, open up that site. What's now the next step to making it not so obvious, right? I want to see these teams, especially a team like OpTic Gaming, where everyone knows how they like to play. They're always shown on stream, right? There's no secrets really coming out here. What can you do now to play mind games with your opponent to catch them off guard?
Now, the map we're going to see is Retaliation, and talking with JP, our stats wizard, he said, Retaliation is the most attack-friendly of the maps. So when you're looking at Search and Destroy, most of the maps are around 50%. The attacking team, their win percentage is 58% of the rounds. So out of all of them, this is where you're going to have the advantage on the attack. It's going to be more difficult to win on the defensive end. If you're seeing big wins on defense early on for MindFreak, that's how you get away with this game early on.
And I think a big part of that, Chris, comes down to how long it takes for a team to rotate from one side to the other. Let's say you go for a very fast push towards top bridge when you're on defense and no one goes there for the offensive side. Guess what? They get a quick plant lower street. They can then push into market, and once you have that set up, it's a near impossible round to win. You could say the opposite thing for swapping those bomb sites. When you go for a quick plant on bridge, you get that objective down, you take control of Cathedral. Good luck for the defense team on winning. Here, you have to see if teams begin to fan out on the map, how well do they do it, making sure they don't kind of over-rotate, they don't get first blooded. This is a tough map for defensive teams to win.
Looks like our players are taking a minute before this game kicks off. And Jack, I was doing some interviews with some reporters. Shout out to everyone who came out to Anaheim from E3. But tell people a little bit about Search and Destroy. How does it work in general? Let's explain the basics before we dive deep into this game too.
Well, Search and Destroy, it's a little bit slower paced, right? You can see the round develop. A lot of clutch moments will come into play. You get 1 life per round. It's first to 6 rounds won. Every round, there's a team that's going to be carrying an objective, a bomb that they have to plant at a site and then defend and hope that it explodes. On the other side, you want to stop them from planting, get those kills before they can put that objective down and secure the round win. Either way, though, we're going to talk a lot about first blood. What that is for the viewers at home is the first kill in the round. The team that gets that first kill, put them at a 4v3 number advantage. They can then easily trade and dictate the pace of the round from there. A lot of key areas on these maps, Chris, you see in the map fly through. This is one, the top hotel hallway. You'll see a lot of pressure there. It's OpTic Gaming up 1-0 in our best of 5.
And OpTic is going to be on the defense here. So they're going to try and defend this bomb site down on the lower street. That's the B bomb site on the right. To their left is going to be the A bomb site, which is more difficult to plan on because it's out in the open over on the bridge. Intro fights here are going down, but all of the players survive and will be backing away. Dents is going to get the bomb planted here for MindFreak. Shocks is overlooking, and he is going to see Formal and back out wisely.
And this is that scary thing we talk about. Now the bomb is down. Going to be up to this team on defense to retake towards this bridge side. Karma will be leading this push. He's got to wait for some help from Formal, and he gets exactly that. Fida gets caught in an awful timing as well. It's now a 3v2 for OpTic Gaming.
Just Buzzo left alive, and it's not for long. That bomb is going to be defused. Give it to Formal. Let him start working towards these score streaks. Also, we'll keep our eye on the camo as this game progresses. It's the most powerful payload, and it can be the game changer at any moment in a game like Search and Destroy.
And a big thing to watch out for as well. If the last time you watched competitive Call of Duty was our Stage 1 playoffs, a change that has come into play now, the bomb planter or diffuser will not get payload meter score for defusing or planting that objective. So it's no longer just going to be one player carrying the bomb. It's not going to be the guy who runs the camo payload ability. It's going to be a team effort. Karma will still have it for OpTic Gaming, but even if he plants it, it will not help him earn that camo quicker.
And I think that's going to lead to people working on score streaks a little bit more. Now, Shocks is going to get not only your first kill, he also finds Formal for the second. So a fantastic opening here on defense for MindFreak. And they're going to be rotating around, caught off guard. It is Shocks going for the ace, baby. Only Crim 6 left here for OpTic, and he has been spotted in the Cathedral. Give it to Shocks, all four. We'll see you later.
With the salute as well, Shocks. All right, there you go. Shows why he was the best player statistically for MindFreak back in Stage 1 of the CWL Global Pro League. Like the salute at the end as well. Nice job by him to not only get first blood, but to continue to put up numbers that round.
And Shocks is also in that top 5 list overall for most effective when it comes to first blood. So that means he's getting the kills. He's always involved in the engagements, but he survives.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they get first blood and they die right after. Shocks, not that guy. He's showing you what he's made of with the ERAD in that last round. And MindFreak, they're going a little bit more aggressive than they did on their first attack. You see that bomb getting very close to the A site early on. Meanwhile, Buzzo causing all kinds of distractions over here at B. OpTic's going to be slow on the rotate back.
What's making this so tough for MindFreak is that on your minimap, the top left, Formal continues to get towards Cathedral, so MindFreak can't push through to OpTic Gaming spawn. So they're just getting caught running and having to try to defend this bomb. Look at where it's planted at. They have no easy sight line. They have to expose themselves when they want to go towards it. I mean, this is really best case scenario for MindFreak. Fida has definitely snuck himself into quite the corner here against OpTic Gaming, but Crim spots him. He's been given, gets two, but no, enough time left for OpTic Gaming for the defuse. Again, Formal getting towards that back Cathedral area on your minimap. Chris forces MindFreak to fall back towards their spawn. Already OpTic have the rest of the map controlled. It's a tough scenario to be in to defend that site.
I thought Fido was going to be able to get out with his life, but Scump just too fast. Here's a look at him, and your round-ending kill cam comes flying across the bridge, is able to hit the shots. There was no escape for Fido.
These players just love making us look stupid. We talk so much about how good offense is, how heavy it is on this map.
Just 58%, Jeff.
Just 3 rounds so far, 3 defensive wins. We'll see if OpTic can change that here, as it's now Karma back with the bomb in his hands on offense.
Last time around, it was Shocks getting the early picks with the SMG at short range at the bottom half of your minimap. This time around, you see the defensive setup is over at the bridge. Formal is drawing all the attention while Karma gets a free plant.
And this is exactly what we talked about. When he sees 4 people over at bridge, plant that quickly, and now OpTic in a 4v4 scenario just has to defend this B site.
Karma checking the bed, looks good. Fido, though, gets first blood, and Formal's going to answer on Buzzo, so still a 3-on-3. You got about 20 seconds to work with here if you're MindFreak. You got to get to that bomb, but there are still 3 defenders up. Finally, you're going to see the kills going down, and Formal is going to answer back on Fido. 2-on-2 here.
And they know the last player's in bedroom. Formal spots him. Easy pickings. OpTic win that round. Scump did such a good job staying alive inside bedroom. He drew the attention of 3 MindFreak players over, which let Crim and Formal get themselves in the advantageous positions to secure that round 4. OpTic now up by 2 rounds. Smooth sailing still into this game 2.
Let's go OpTic chants starting early on here in Anaheim. The Green Wall, the biggest fan base we have here in Call of Duty today. Rivaled only by a few like FaZe Clan, but we will see them supporting their squad all weekend long. Let's take a look at Fido, though, as he gets another first blood. This time it's the pick on Karma. Will he be able to survive? It looks like it. So man advantage. Shock still with the bomb in hand. MindFreak is taking their time. They're looking for Scump, but Scump's causing problems here from the broken window.
Again, Scump is just staying alive inside bedroom, and his teammates are just shooting MindFreak players in the back. It's Fida all by himself yet again in a 1 versus 2. Tagged up, gonna have to play his life for a moment. The nade also hits as well. FTL jump being used by Formal. They're hunting right now on the side of OpTic Gaming.
Formal smells blood, but Scump is too hungry. He's gonna get all the kills himself. OpTic Gaming starting to roll here. It was looking okay for MindFreak for a moment, but now this game is spiraling out of control. How do you bring it back unless Shox gets another race?
I mean, yeah, the one round that they have won is Shox really taking the game over. It reminds me a lot of that first hardpoint where MindFreak had a nice little start. Then OpTic Gaming just slowly but surely, one hill at a time, 1 round at a time now in Search and Destroy. Built on this lead, Formal a couple kills off these streaks, but MindFreak, I think, just need to get aggressive towards a site. Right now, just flood out. There you go. Dez with the sniper, trying new things. A great example of a change that has worked out for them in this round.
And look at the angle that Dens was taking to get that sniper kill. He's playing up close and personal. Have to showcase insane reaction time if you're going to get a pick at a range like that. MindFreak, though, they're using the buddy system. Everyone grouping up. They're going to try and hit with the man advantage. They know they can outgun their opponents unless they go 1 by 1. Kills are traded out as Dens finds Krim with the pistol, but Karma holding too strong, picks up 2 kills. Formal on the flank. This is an OpTic round after being down a man. Karma and Formal get the job done.
That just summed up how this game's kind of gone right there. 2 versus 4. Karma and Formal just so happens are perfectly baiting each other throughout that entire round right there. You can see Karma about to turn the corner. Even if Formal lost that one-on-one gunfight, Karma had a quick and easy cleanup. That, for me, seals the deal for OpTic Gaming. They're now up 5-1. They've got some streaks to work with. This one is done for me.
Formal's looking for double digits. That's the new challenge for me. It's not that if MindFreak can come back in this game. It's how many kills is Formal going to drop. The bomb not contested at all, Jack.
Sorry to cut you off, but can we quickly swap to Formal? This is exactly. Formal's got streaks. Why are you even going towards this bridge site? That's 1 kill already. He's trying to chase a second player. Don't think he's going to get it, but either way, it's now a 3-on-3. They've spotted another as well right outside bedroom.
Shox found Scump in the middle of that, so it's a 2-on-3. Shox and Dens trying to keep this game going. They've been spotted, though, by Formal now. Formal, Krim, and Karma left alive for your green team.
And they know they're both in bedroom. Beautiful challenge, though, by Shox to at least give him some breathing room and get out of that close quarters area. Somehow, still a chance in this round for MindFreak.
And the key while you're watching these games is keep your eyes on the mini-map in the top left. You can see those green arrows. They're out hunting. MindFreak, they're just waiting for someone to walk by. Dens has been sitting here forever. Crim6 turns the corner and puts him on his back.
Wow, the instant kill from Krim. The second engagement win at the end. OpTic end that one with an exclamation mark, Chris, as they're now up 2-0.
Chris like, hey, I got pretty good reaction time. You want to see it? Oh, here it is again.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's the winningest player in competitive Call of Duty history. 30 LAN championships. He's looking for, I believe, his 31st this weekend. I believe his family's in the crowd as well. Awesome stuff here in Anaheim for OpTic Gaming fans so far as their team's up 2-0.
It's been pretty impressive, man. We knew they were the favorites coming in. United having some roster drama. MindFreak never the biggest threat when it comes against the Tier 1 North American teams. But OpTic, they're looking to make a statement. People are saying other teams have caught up. They want to go perfect throughout their groups and really just crush through their competition as this weekend goes through.
This is how you started, right? It's a quick 2-0 lead right now. MindFreak, you're not out of this one yet. But either way, you got a tall order if you want to go for the reverse sweep now against one of North America's best.
We are going to a short break, but don't go anywhere. When we return, you're going to want to see Kid Shox and the boys turn it up in uplink. Or is it OpTic righting the wrongs from group play and winning a big one on Throwback? And we are back live from the Anaheim Convention Center. Welcome back to California for another amazing tournament. This time, it is the Call of Duty World League Open, and we are currently in pool play. This is a look at Pool D. We started with 4 teams. We'll be adding a 5th one from the open bracket tomorrow. But right now, our pool favorite, OpTic Gaming, is going off against our 3rd-seeded team, MindFreak.
Yeah, and again, they're looking quite good so far. We want to make sure everybody knows as well. We talked about the open bracket. You just mentioned it right there. So much talent there that can wind up playing spoiler in these pools, but also other matches going on as well that the studio, Benson and crew, our analysts will update you on as the day goes on. Open up that second tab to MLG.TV/Call of Duty. Go find that Bravo stream too to see, I believe right now, an Epsilon team beating out the likes of LG in their best of 5 series so far. Yeah, apparently things are already getting lit on day 1.
Stage 1 finalist Luminosity having some trouble over on Bravo. What's up, Epsilon?
I can't tell, but hey, you know what? Epsilon was a team. I made a bold predictions video, right, coming into this event.
Okay.
I said that there's a chance, and I don't even know if I believe it, but there's a chance that we might see our first ever winners bracket final of EU teams only. If Epsilon can play well, they'll be the team to match twice.
That's not a bold prediction. That's like
outright insane.
There's a chance a comet is going to land right next to the convention center and cook our meals for dinner, Jack.
Sounds delicious.
There's a bunch of
probably not going to happen.
I'll probably go to those instead. Here we go. Game 3 on its way. It is time for uplink, and we are headed to Throwback. Now, one of the odd numbers here. You look at all the incredible stats from OpTic Gaming throughout Stage 1 of the Global Pro League. Throwback, not their best map.
No, and this was a map that they had a lot of holes in their setups. What they were watching, you could tell, they just kind of looked flustered a little bit in their gameplay, not really knowing when to push towards field, not doing a great job of watching their underpass. And that was actually something that a few of the casters spoke with OpTic, and Karma was kind of like, what were we missing right there? Because we just kept getting shot in the back. From our end, it looked like underpass was their open area. We'll see if they do a better job here, because as you mentioned, this was not their strong game mode back in the Stage 1 regular season.
Now we saw a pretty good game 1 out of Dens. Shocks, he was pretty solid throughout the search and destroy. But they need all 4 members. You need Buzzo, you need Fida to be turning up here as we go to uplink. You have to outslay your opponent so far. That is something they have not been able to do. You have to match the firepower that we're going to see from OpTic Gaming.
Oh, absolutely. And on this map as well, the pace can pick up very quickly. Many teams, they try to grab that drone and run right through an underpass. Some teams are better than the others at actually completing the scores off of it. We'll see what MindFreak, the APAC squad, can do as they have their backs against the wall in their first pool play match this weekend against OpTic Gaming.
Now I'm trying to think. The teams are 37-1 when you outslay your opponent in the respawn game modes. I think that one win was Enigma 6 against OpTic Gaming on this map in this game mode, getting outslayed. They just played sneaky. They constantly stopped the drone, and they were able to clutch up on their opportunities. Jack, this is basically Call of Duty's version of basketball. Break it down for our new fans.
Oh, basically, you have that drone right now in the middle of the map. Scump was just near it. It will be MindFreak picking it up. There it is. Formal's got it. That drone gives you some extra armor. Your teammates go escort you to that portal right there that Formal just scored in. You see OpTic have a 1-0 lead. When you throw in the drone, you get 1 point. If you have enough map pressure, if you have enough enemies dead, and you can confidently dunk that drone in, you earn yourself 2 points. It's a big difference maker as this 10-minute long game plays out.
Buzzo on your screen knows everybody from OpTic's going to be flooding through. He spots the drone carrier, but he doesn't hit a single shot. That's a free dunk. You see the lead blocker, Karma, is going to lead to the 2-point play coming through. And it's actually Karma, who threw that one up. Nice job by Crim6 to still stay alive and patrol within the MindFreak base. On the defensive end, though, it's MF trying to push in on Scump's home territory, and Scump is going to light him up with the help of his buddies.
Yep, and now OpTic Gaming, they're fully on the offensive again. They're slaying hard so far. It's Crim with another electric start to the respawn game modes. He did it with the full streaks back in that hard point. Now Scump will go for the 1. It connects. OpTic already up 4-0. MindFreak need to stop the bleeding, and they need to stop it soon.
Formal's shot is so pure right now. And just look at the angles he's taking. Never is his full body out in the open.
Oh, no.
He is making sure he's got cover. Unless he's just turning and burning on you. Fida, take a seat. Players are coming off the respawn. Formal is looking for him, and he is shutting them down with no more than 5 bullets.
Yeah, I don't think OpTic will get a point off of this, but either way, MindFreak cannot breathe in their spawn. Guess what, Chris? When you have a lead and your opponents can't leave their base, you're going to do a good job of holding on to that lead.
Probably going to be an easy game.
That's my expert analysis.
I like the breakdown, Jack. Here's a look at Fighta just trying to stay alive, trying to get a little bit of breathing room. Crim6 is going to spray him down. Formal in the back lines cleans up Buzzo. They know their opponents are going to be spawning off to the right. Everyone's going to be crashing in. And look at the scoreline here from Shox, the star player, the guy we said needs to go big all weekend long for MindFreak. He's held to just 1 kill.
Yeah, and he was the guy most confident that I was speaking to prior to this series starting. He was like, Jack, I got us 3-1 beating OpTic Gaming. Right now, that's not going to be the case no matter what happens in this series, as they've already dropped 2 maps. But either way, it's OpTic with a 3-possession lead. Everything going right for them so far. MindFreak haven't come close to bringing the drone towards the OG side of the map.
We talked about numbers earlier in that game 1, how Karma plays that role that really opens things up for guys like Crim6, Scump, and Formal. Karma, he's kind of your main objective player when it comes to uplink. He's going to probably finish with the most points, and he still has the gun skill. You see him trading out kills there, but if there's a guy who's going to get a safe dunk for you, I'd give it to Karma 9 times out of 10.
He just knows where he needs to be. It seems like at all times he's always the thorn in the opponent's side. It's almost like with the star-studded slaying you see from Formal, Crim6, and Scump, that you kind of forget Karma's there, and then you have the 2-time world champion, one of the smartest players in Call of Duty history, who you forget about on the map, and that's a sign of disaster for your team.
Dance up top in the window. This is a power position, and he is going to be surging forward now. They have the middle controlled. MindFreak could quickly tack on points. You remember OpTic Gaming versus United on this map, how quickly OpTic was able to force an overtime with plays, the tosses over the buildings, but there's only 60 seconds to work with. You got to get 3 down for OpTic Gaming. You got to start punishing. You have to score at least once here in the first half, right?
No, you'd hope so. You need some sort of morale going into side 2. You could see MindFreak, they've been putting some pressure onto OpTic, especially Dens, and kind of getting towards that second half of the map. And he's trying to win some gunfights, trying to stall, trying to force some OpTic Gaming players to put some pressure towards him. They haven't been able to build too much off it. Finally, there should be a score here from Fighta. It will be a dunk. Nice. As you mentioned, great score for MindFreak with 30 seconds remaining inside.
And that was all Shox. If you watched him behind the enemy lines, he got behind him with the E-Red, causing problems. He was 1-6, now 8-9. He has really upped his game. He continues to impress in the middle of the map. Outguns Scump, tosses that drone forward. That's going to force OpTic to pull back for a moment. That's going to open up the lanes here for guys like Buzzo, who are able to take control of the center of the map. 6 seconds left, though. They weren't able to push through. This halftime is going to be 5-2. OpTic with a nice advantage.
They're 5 minutes away from starting off their CWL Anaheim open run with a quick sweep over Apex Best. But Chris, I want to look back and really highlight Shox. You mentioned the 1-6 to turn things around. Look at the difference in map pressure that MindFreak were able to put on when he finally began to get some kills. It went from having to frantically defend their home portal to then contesting middle map 50-50 with OpTic. And because he was killing, they got that opportunity to go for that dunk. If he can do that here inside too, they're not out of this game.
And big props to Buzzo. He was their weak link in the respawn earlier on hardpoint breakout. He's now leading the team at 14-12. We talked about everyone turning up. Buzzo is now doing his role, but here comes OpTic again. They win 3 of the opening 4 fights. The drone's in the hand of Scump. He's gonna toss it up. That's a 1-point score. You are keeping an eye on Buzzo trying to play the defensive role. This would be a clean of the base. Buzzo does find Formal. Everyone can push up once again. You got to get the kills, though, with the SMGs in the middle of the map. Fighta didn't find it, neither did Shox on the mini-map. Buzzo is a one-man army, though.
Yeah, 5 streak. You can see he's shredding with this NV4 on Throwback, the slower-paced weapon. He's doing what he can to clear lanes, but look, how ironic is it that the game that he starts showing up and slaying, his 3 teammates are now lagging behind. They just can't seem to all be on the same page. Imagine if Buzzo was putting up these numbers and you had Fighta, Buzzo, and Dens following suit. Right now, they're just not doing the same.
Dens is going to find one. Formal challenging Buzzo, and the help is a little late, but Dens will clean up the kills. You got 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. This is anyone's game. Still, MindFreak could definitely pull this one off. They've done a nice job in the second half of controlling the center of the map. They haven't been pinned yet. They're keeping OpTic kind of on the back foot, and the biggest thing here is you held Scump to just a 1-point play on that opening break.
Absolutely, and you can see right now, I'm happy we're on board with him. Buzzo, in the bottom right of your screen, that payload ability, something that was added to competitive Call of Duty in the last couple of years. We saw it last year in Black Ops 3, now reimagined here in Infinite Warfare. They are huge for scoring that drone, especially at the end of the second half. These final moments of the game can easily be decided by a great overdrive or a strong camo. Karma not quite there yet for his, but we'll have to keep an eye on that as the game develops.
Formal was massively positive, now just back to even. Crim6, the only one really putting up consistent, solid numbers. Shocks and Dens starting to come alive. You see Shocks, he's 13 and 15. Dens just -1. The payload's starting to get unlocked though, and we still have that overdrive ready to pop if someone can get the pass over to Buzzo here.
Buzzo's got to go. He's taking so much time. Finally does show up. The drone now down.
You overdrive this?
No,
he tried it. Bad timing.
He took too long, Chris. He really did take too long. He was playing passively in Barn when nobody from OpTic was even near there. And honestly, if you're going to go for that pinch, you have to just hope. If you're going to do something as bold as that, you just have to hope that there will be nobody there. And there slows down. Doesn't play with confidence, and it comes to bite him in the butt.
Now, we talked about MindFreak doing a great job not getting pinned. They do it again. Scump only gets 1 kill there. Dens continues to surge forward with Shocks. They're putting the pressure on OpTic once again. Fight is in the back line, waiting for the Hail Mary toss. And he's just cherry picking. Nice 2-point play. All of a sudden, it's a 1-possession game with still 2 minutes to go.
Doing his best Ball Brothers impression right there as he's just waiting by the hoop for the free pass and score. But either way, 2 minutes remaining. Still a 2-point lead for OpTic Gaming. But right there, again, Fight It, you saw the difference between what Buzzo did and what he did. He just went for it. He did not hesitate. Just said, throw me the drone. I'm here. Let's try to make something happen. Scump, that would have been a big 1-point play to make this a 2-possession game. But instead, MindFreak called it off.
It's the captain, Buzzo, on the defensive end. Now Shocks with 2 kills in the feed. That's 3 down for OpTic Gaming. Buzzo's going to be moving up this drone. Dens is the lead blocker. They still have a payload to work with, and that camo will be unlocked soon. Here comes Buzzo. Buzzo not able to get it done, though. Crim6 and Karma on the defensive end. OpTic Gaming, do you need to score right now here, Jack? Are you confident in your defense?
A 1-point play for me ends this game, and that's what OpTic want to do exactly. They've already got Formal flying forward. He's got 2 players to beat. MindFreak still with this drone, just trying to keep it away from the hands of OpTic Gaming, especially with how close OG are to the MindFreak portal. Den's doing a good job of keeping the pressure forward. 1 minute remaining. Can MindFreak force the game forward?
Keep your eyes on the camo. Shocks is 2 kills away from earning his.
This is everything.
Big fight in the middle of the map. Formal wins this one. Meanwhile, all of OpTic is going to be crashing on the bike path. 40 seconds to go. Karma's got his camo ready to pop.
And that is a scary, scary sight. He can pop this camo right now with the drone and at least secure the 1. He might just go for the dunk, though. It's Karma pushing forward. He's got the lead blocker. The 2-point play. That is why payloads are important at the end of side 2. We cannot preach it enough. Crim with the overdrive.
Give him the wiggle, baby.
The icing on the cake as OpTic Gaming are 15 seconds from the 3-0.
Crim is a melt machine. 6 kills in a row. Over 30 kills here in game number 3. Crim6, a consistent force. Formal's trying to rally in 1 more. The drone's moving up. 1 second left. The 7 streak to close it out. OpTic Gaming sends MindFreak packing here in our first match, the hot 3-0.
Apparently, fans out there just, someone should come and get that guy help. But
he needs some melt.
He definitely does right there. You see the smiles on OpTic Gaming's face, especially from Crim there, the 7 streak going big. That's right there, everyone from OpTic having some big individual plays to win that map 3.
You guys like that first game? We got plenty more. Just the first series is in the books here. This is gonna be a hell of an open event. Shout out to OpTic Gaming coming out and doing what everyone expected. They never really faltered throughout any of those 3 games.
Nope, not at all. And at the end of the payloads make all the difference. You think if Shocks wins that gunfight versus Formal in middle map, you really highlighted it well. If he wins that gunfight, Can be one kill from Camo, gets that one. The drone was already on the side of OpTic Gaming. That would have forced a tie game, at least get into OT. Instead he dies. Karma earns his payload, uses it in a fantastic way. Moving forward for MindFreak, you can't be too tilted from that one. You lost to one of the best in the world, but either way, match one is done. It's a 3-0 for OpTic Gaming, but we've got a whole hell of a lot more Call of Duty to come today. When we come back from this quick break, we'll head over to the studio for an update on the rest of CWL Anaheim.